Hi there and welcome back to the channel. It's been a minute. I took some time off to retool and I've come back just in time to talk about a film I watched just last night. Dangerous Animals. It's an Aussie film that has just come out starring Jai Courtney, Hassie Harrison, Josh Houston and a few toothy aquatic beasts. If the title, imagery or trailer hasn't given it away, this is a horror film. Oddly enough, another big Australian horror movie is currently showing in cinemas around the globe at the moment, so we're really gaining some attention on the world stage. Whilst researching for this movie, I stumbled across yet another Australian shark movie that has just released recently as well. If you're interested in it, don't go by the YouTube thumbnails though. The fact the director has had to comment on such ridiculous levels of misrepresentation is crazy. But back to Dangerous Animals. What is it about, I hear you ask? Well, a woman named Zephyr is kidnapped by a psychotic boat captain named Tucker. Tucker runs a shark diving cage experience for tourists on the Gold Coast, but it appears that he likes to torment his captives in a very specific manner, adding to the overall terror presented in this film. Now, the premise of using sharks as the target of horror is not an original concept, but the film itself is very refreshing. Even the idea of just being nibbled by a shark is horrific. But this film does something different that most shark horror films don't do, and that is paint the sharks in a much more empathetic light. There are shots of real sharks that they use in this film that seem terrifying at first, but once you get a second to acclimate to what's on screen, you start to feel a bit more at ease with these rather beautiful creatures of the ocean. The score really helps this along, going from these tense notes to switching to a more calmer tone, feeling much more like a nature doco. It kind of reminded me of this concept that most shark attacks on humans are generally considered a case of mistaken identity or done out of sheer curiosity on part of the shark. The movie was very well cast. It's very slice of life of the Gold Coast. There's the tourist meeting a local story, and Jai Courtney really shines in his role as a charismatic killer. It goes hand in hand with being a boat captain within the tourism industry. Not the killer part, but the charismatic part. Now, the script worked quite well. I'll admit again, the role of Tucker was very well put together as he dances between this tourism operator showman vibe to the cold killer obsessed with sharks. However, I will say I understand its significance, but the romance story felt a little bit too cliche in my opinion. Some of the lines and topics feel like they've been ripped out of a rom-com from 20 years ago. But aside from that, the rest of it was great. I also like how Zephyr is fighting from the get-go. And what's not to love about a woman who cleverly hides a tub of Ben & Jerry's inside a Slurpee in order to save like $8. But in all seriousness, she is constantly fighting for survival. She doesn't need to find her strength, she just fights. I loved it. Overall, I give this 4.5 stars out of 5. As much as the trailers might have given away, I was still genuinely surprised and delighted by the filming, the acting, and the constant tension. Seeing some major landmarks from a place I grew up also felt a little special. Now I can't wait for a physical release for this. One final thought just before I go, I wanted to talk about this idea of original concept in film. It feels like kind of a crutch for how we measure films today. I know I just used it before, but it feels like I needed to get ahead of this preconceived notion. Because if you judge the trailer and think, well, it's just another shark movie, I think you'd be making a mistake. I mean, even if this was, I don't think that we should let a broad concept dictate whether or not a film is worth seeing. I mean, sure, if a movie directly lifts an exact idea from something else, you can determine for yourself whether it's plagiarized or simply an homage. At this point, however, I think we should be pumped when a movie isn't part of a franchise, sequel, or a reboot. It's a small bar to clear, but honestly, to find a legitimately brand new idea or concept for a movie after over a century of cinema is damn near impossible. So let's celebrate the small wins in a good way. If you're interested in all at seeing this film, I encourage you to go to your local cinema and help small films out. This may in turn encourage studios to take more chances on newer, riskier films. That's it for me. Thank you for watching this video, and if you've watched all the way to the end, an even bigger thank you. There'll be more updates and I'll be doing some new things for the channel coming soon, so stay tuned for that. Take care.